Alrighty, I think we are safe to start. So as for folks who are just joining right now, welcome to a ServiceNow live on ServiceNow webinar. We'll be discussing getting started with collaboration in Service Operations Workspace for ITSM, or SOW for short. I will be using the term SOW just because it's faster, easier, and it'll be consistent as we're going through the presentation. With that, I would like to share our next slide, which is our safe harbor statement. As I know, everybody's very familiar with this one. We're basically everything that we are presenting here today, while is available in platform. Today, there may be some forward-looking statements, so please do not make any purchasing decisions based off of anything that you see here today. This is an informational session, and hopefully you'll find this useful and educational while we're at it. And now that we have that out of the way, I will move on to our next slide. So folks, if you have time, we would also like you to join future webinars. So if you can use your phone, you can access that link to see our schedule and see what other interactive events we have coming up in the near future. So if you enjoy these webinars and you find them useful, please attend other webinars. We put these together for you, the customer, in order to provide you with knowledge and information and opportunity to ask us some questions while we're actually presenting this content. So more than happy to have you participate in other future events as well. So I'll leave this up for a little bit. Hopefully folks have had time to scan that. Now for our housekeeping slide. Just as an FYI, we save time at the end for Q&A, so please use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen along the way. The presentation will be recorded and shared on the ServiceNow community. After the event, you will be prompted to fill out a short survey, and we would really appreciate it if you would give us your feedback. That helps us not only know how effective the content was for you, but also areas of opportunity where we can help improve that for folks, right? And we also have a host of other ServiceNow employees who are here to field other questions or during our Q&A session. If I don't have the answer, hopefully someone else on the call who's supporting me will be able to provide answers for you. On to our next slide. So for the agenda, I'll go through a brief introduction of myself and a program recap of what we'll be covering. And I will also we'll also be discussing the sidebar and chat experience within our Service Operations Workspace, or SOW. And third, we'll also be demoing the collaborative call experience within SOW. Where we will demonstrate how you can leverage that Service Operations Workspace to make calls, start conference bridges, and do that all from one singular interface, simplifying the overall engagement for agents. And then last but not least, we'll be covering some Q&A. So as we go through the webinar, I will try to make sure that we will stay on time and give folks an opportunity to ask questions at the end of the demo. And also, and then hopefully we'll be able to answer your questions there. All right. Okay. All right. So a little bit about myself. I have over 20 plus years of service management experience. I can't believe it myself, but I've been in the industry for quite some time now. The total of that has been 14 years of ServiceNow experience, where I have been not only a customer, but systems integrator, product owner, and now I'm an outbound product manager. I've crossed over to become a full-time ServiceNow employee. But I have been a customer, so I understand the customer journey. I also understand where there's been a lot of effort and opportunity, where transforming an organization takes more than just, deploying a technology, but being able to evangelize it, speak to what the product does, and then net result the benefits for an organization as we're moving forward. My current focus area right now is improving the adoption of Service Operations Workspace, right? And also providing content and prescriptive guidance and collaborative work with customers and partners. So I'm happy that folks are on the call, and I'm looking forward to presenting to folks on the call here and answering questions. So on to our next slide. And with our next slide, we will be asking you to fill out a poll, just so we can get some background. Right now, it's like, we would like to know if you've already started using Service Operations Workspace, and if one of my esteemed colleagues can kick that off for me. Thank you. And we will wait until we get to, say, roughly 75%. Please answer the survey, and let's see if we can get there quickly. Just so we get a background to understand how many folks have actually either adopted it or you're looking to launch it. Okay, we're at 67% right now, climbing up to 70. Should we push it to 75? Can we do that? All right. 72. Come on, just a few more folks. Okay, 74. All right, perfect. 75. All right, so I think we can end the poll with that. And sharing the results, it looks like a lot of you have already started with Service Operations Workspace, or you're underway, but we still have a percentage of folks, or 31%, who have not yet planned to move to Service Operations Workspace. And we would encourage that you come up with a plan. I think some of the benefits and newer capabilities that we'll be presenting and making available in platform, a lot of those benefits will be only available within the Service Operations Workspace. It's a more flexible action framework than the legacy incident form, and a lot of the innovative, data-driven, collaborative feature capabilities are being presented in Service Operations Workspace. So hopefully, as part of this presentation, you'll be incentivized to adopt that, right? So, there we go. And stop sharing. Let's move on to the next slide. Okay, we have one more survey here. If Jim can kick that off for me.
Yep, it's okay.
Okay. Now we want to know if you've integrated any of the collaboration tools. Right now we support MS Teams, Slack, Zoom, WebEx, and our sidebar conversation. So if folks can fill that out, if you are integrating any collaborative tools in the platform, it'd be useful for us to know that. Oh, okay, we're getting up to 66%. 71. All right. Let's give it a couple more. All right, 74%. Can we get 75? Oh, no. 73. 72. I don't know why that's going down.
People are joining. That's why it's going down.
I gotcha. All right. Let's I think we are at 72. Let's end the poll. Let's share that with folks. So it looks like a little less than half of the folks, 40%, already have some integration done, and then we have 60% who have not done that yet. And a large majority of you are using MS Teams, which is great, because this is what we'll be using for our demo today. All right. All right. Let's move on to. Okay, so what we'll be covering today is the collaboration in Service Operations Workspace. And collaboration can be broadly classified into a few following segments, right? We've got collaborative chat, we've got sidebar, MS Teams for this particular demo, and collaborative calls within MS Teams as well. And in the MS Teams scenario, we'll be showcasing how you leverage Teams to start conference calls, call bridges, but we also support Twilio, Zoom, WebEx, and Slack as well as part of those integrations. The slide needs to be updated, but that's as recent as Xanadu. We've introduced the capability to integrate with Slack. So from there, the side panel, which is on the right-hand side of the Service Operations Workspace, you'll see where we'll showcase where the icons are for the collaboration, how you can initiate that simply from using that single pane of glass, which is our Service Operations Workspace, and also some of the chat functionality and additional features that we have with the integration with Microsoft Teams and other features, right? So I'll do a quick walkthrough of the sidebar and chat experience, just so folks are familiar where we're going and they have an idea of what, a preview of what I'll be demoing live. So initially, we have the sidebar chat where you can initiate a chat right from the side panel right here, if folks can see that. I have my little laser pointer on where you've got looks like a group of folks sitting around a table collaborating, I guess. And we can initiate chat from that within SOW. And also here, where you've got this plus icon, this will bring up the additional integrations that you have for chat. So in this demo, as I mentioned before, right now we have this demo currently configured to leverage Microsoft Teams. However, we also support Zoom, Twilio, Slack integration as well. So as you put in those integrations, it'll be a simple click for your agents to be able to take advantage of those features and capabilities, right? It also, the Service Operations Workspace has some intelligence as well, where it will recommend folks that you may want to add to a collaborative chat based off of the incident or previous history within some of the ticket data that you have. So that does save time where you don't necessarily have to search for people that are already part of that ticket information. The Service Operations Workspace will also make some proactive recommendations for folks, right? And again, as I mentioned, new for Xanadu in bright yellow, we have Slack integration by popular demand, and hopefully, folks will find that option useful. We aim to be as flexible as possible and to integrate, with where our customers are. And this is just another great example of how we add feature capabilities based off of customer requirements. Okay. So in this next slide, showcasing the sidebar chat initiation modal, right? When a sidebar chat is initiated from the collaboration panel, you are presented with this sidebar chat discussion. And in this area, you are able to add new participants. So in this example, we're using Teams. So individuals who have current Teams accounts and are in the ServiceNow platform, you can find those folks, add them to a participant list, and you can also add a subject to that as well, and also include a brief description before you start that collaborative discussion, right? All in the context of the selected record with a docked window within the Service Operations Workspace. And you see that here, right? On to our next slide. And here's our MS Teams chat initiation by an agent. So when MS Teams chat is initiated from the collaboration panel that you saw, you'll be presented with this window to initiate a chat. And as you see, it's already recommending folks based off of the context of the actual ticket, and also particular assignment group if you wanted to add those. And those are suggestions. You would click on those, and then it would add those participants. But you can also, free type individuals into this participant list and then add them. If the suggestion doesn't capture everybody that you need, right? And then when you select that, you can start that chat. And there are two options where you can either use an integrated desktop app if you already have that installed. That's quite useful, but if you do not, you can also initiate that as a web interface as well, and you see that right here. So a lot of flexibility there, just to cover folks that may not have the client installed already. Excuse me. Now going on to our next slide. Here we have our chat card side panel, right? Where you can see we have multiple discussions that are going on at once, concurrently. So part of that is, that also shows up within the Service Operations Workspace, right? Very convenient. Again, agents don't have to pivot out of the platform into a separate UI in order to manage that functionality. Another great benefit of actually having this level of functionality within the platform means that, you can associate the conversations and the communications that you have back and forth and the folks who are actually involved with, working on a particular ticket. Which is, useful for post-analysis as well, if you're looking for areas of opportunity where that can be either proactively addressed in the future or potentially maybe some improvements, right, with what's happening here, or maybe improving monitoring or some other opportunities. But in a post-analysis, having all of that within the platform allows you to really dive deeper, even as an after action. And of course, again, if customer has enabled MS Teams chat, right, these cards will be displayed along the sidebar chat as well, and discussion versus chat. Okay. And here we have, an incident, right? And the chat, as I mentioned earlier, can be imported into that incident, making it really useful for folks who may not have been part of that initial investigation, or potentially other folks who are joining an investigation, or it's being handed off to a separate team, or it's being escalated. So they don't have to go through, trying to find information. It's all right there. The communications, the conversations that were taking place, all from one single source of truth, right? So I think that's a huge benefit here. And you can see all of the chat information within the activity stream. Now, for the next slide, I thought it would be good for me to mention that we also have the ability to layer Now Assist on top of this. So Now Assist is our LLM, because everybody is interested in what's happening with AI. We also have these capabilities within the platform, right? And that can also be used to enhance the chat experience, but you do not to have this in order to be able to move forward with what I'm showing you today. I won't be doing a deep dive into this today. I'm just letting folks know for awareness what we have available that will further enhance the collaborative solution that we have presented to you in the platform, and how you will be able to leverage AI to not only look at how you speed up some of your resolution times, because the less time that agents are spending thinking through or reading data within a ticket, Now Assist can proactively make recommendations, right? So hopefully freeing up time so that agents can focus on more higher priority tasks, or focus their time on customers, right? The other net benefit of having that capability is, we want to improve our service quality, right? So I think not having to read through a lot of the transcripts, because you only want to get what's actionable out of a transcript. The Now Assist will also provide a good summarization of that for an agent, so that, again, looking at this as an action framework, we want to try to help speed up some of those activities in order for agents to be able to deliver results as quickly as possible. And last but not least, of course, is providing an excellent experience for agents. Happy agents are agents who we're able to give time back to, and again, they're able to meet SLAs, they're able to meet the requirements of customers. That's a huge area, right? So looking at the active chat, some of the dynamic summarization that could be provided with our Now Assist, that's a huge accelerator for agents as well. And on to the next slide. Another thing that I wanted to bring your attention to is with the Now Assist, you can also use chat reply recommendations. So based off of the context of the communication that's happening between an agent and an employee or folks who are part of that conversation, Now Assist can recommend what your next response should be. So predictive text, basically, right? So again, reduce the number of typos, provide more efficiency and consistency in a support reply, and it also saves agents time in real time by making real time recommendations. Of course, the agent can also pick an abbreviated version of it or a more elaborate explanation. But before they send it, they can also still edit this, so it's not just a fire and forget. They still have an opportunity to modify it if it doesn't meet their requirements, right? So again, focuses on saving time, reducing MTTR, and then delivering additional value to agents so that they can stay on target and focused with remediating open issues, right? The other thing I'd like to call to your attention, which also new in Xanadu, is this sidebar chat summarization again, where we're looking at summarizing the chat and post troubleshooting and resolution steps and steps in the work notes, right? So if you have in a post action or you're reviewing an incident, this also helps you put together better notes around that. And then again, areas of opportunity where we can improve. So if you're in an after action review or you're doing a post incident analysis, having this pre-summarized, I think also saves time for folks who are help desk leads or product owners who are looking for, again, those areas of opportunity where they can help drive improvement, right? So the whole objective is improving service quality and lowering your total cost of ownership and also making your customers happy, right? All right. So with that, I will begin our demo. Let me stop sharing for now. I'm going to end the slide. And what everyone is here for is our demo. Now, what we have here, I'm setting up a scenario where we have an employee in the left, right? And then we have an agent here on the right. A bit of a caveat that I'd like to share with folks. So as I mentioned, this is a demo instance that we have of Teams, which has some limitations based off of the fact that it's a temp instance. So one of the other things I wanted to call out in case folks are not aware of, when you do integrate Teams, the integration does provide a fairly robust capability to send notifications through that integration. And where that benefit is, since Teams is already embedded where the employees are, they can get notifications directly from a conversational interface like Teams, shifting away from an email modality and being more of a near real time, and they can also leverage the Teams interface to not just keep track of what's going on with the incident, but also initiate communications, right? So we're really keeping a lot of that collaboration within a chat interface, having people being able to collaborate in near real time, I think is a huge benefit when you're looking at, how you engage your customers or how you're moving forward within your organization in order to be closer to the customer. So this is a nice other additional capability, which I won't be demoing this today, but note that when you do this implementation, you're using your Teams instance, you will have the option to be able to configure notifications directly in Teams via that integration, right? Okay. So with that, I will start. So as I mentioned earlier, what we have here is our employee on the left-hand side, where we have in our employee center. And hopefully folks can see my screen. Let me just resize this just a little bit. And from here, we'll be using chat. within the Employee Center portal, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is initiate that chat conversation. Start that up. And let's see, the virtual agent has activated. We won't be talking to the virtual agent today. We're going to be bypassing that to go directly to our agent. And here I am, I'm marking the agent available. That lets the system know that the agent is ready to take calls, right? And from that interface, then we'll be able to, as an employee, I can have a list of options, and I can also breadcrumb to that and say, hey, I actually want to talk to a live agent and I want to be transferred directly to them, right? I've done some troubleshooting myself, but now I would like some help. So as you see here, in the Service Operations Workspace, our agent gets notified that Storm would like to engage, or Storm is having some issues. And at that point, I can accept that live chat. System automatically sends a response at the point of engagement. So now what we have here is an interaction record that's being created. Hold on 1 second. And from this interaction record, you can see it's lightweight. It also highlights the modality that the customer came in. We have status updates, who their employee is, and also the assigned agent who's working it right now, right? In this interaction section. Then we also have this other area right here where we have our activity notes, right? And third one is requester information. So I can see contact information about Storm. I have that at my fingertips. I can click to see more information in there as well. But what I want to bring to your attention is how this chat conversation is now directly within the Service Operations Workspace. So as an agent, I can go ahead and I can respond to our employee here, Storm. The other key thing that I'd like to bring your attention is that we also have quick actions here as well. So with the quick actions, I already have a templated response that I may want to provide to Storm, right? Again, saving myself some time. And I want to say, I will just say, hey, thank you for contacting support. Or I want to say, may I, and these are just some some templatized response that were put in place here. So I'll just select one of them and I'll send that out. And as an employee, I'm saying I'm having a VPN issue. Sure. Right. As you see, it said, well, a little typo there, but I'm having a VPN issue. So I guess that's another good pitch for having predictive text. Yeah. Yeah. So here are the employees saying, I'm having an issue with my VPN. Also from here, our agent can not just, pick a selected template for response, but the agent can also search for a KB article directly from that interface as well. And for example, if I would like to say, okay, I can say, let's say VPN and troubleshooting. Let's see if that comes up. As you can see here, it dynamically populates the list of articles. And here we have troubleshooting steps for VPN, right? So with that, I have another quick action where I could just simply send the employee a knowledge article directly from that interface, right? As it sends it, and I'll just say, can you please try these steps? All right. from here, as an employee, I can link directly to that knowledge article, and I can bring that up directly from this browser. Now, this is just an empty, troubleshooting step document, but you can imagine if you wanted to add some additional content to this or some additional troubleshooting steps. But the idea here is that we're trying to shift left to empower the employee, or maybe provide them with some additional troubleshooting steps, or maybe they need to provide some more detail of what sort of errors. These are some key instructions that could be provided for an employee, and they can go through that and then provide that back to an agent, right? So as an employee, Storm didn't find this useful, so Storm still needs some additional help, right? So I'll say I tried the article, the KB, and it didn't work. Okay. At that point, as you see, that information immediately gets populated. Once send it, tried KB, that didn't work, and you see that here. That's all being added to the activity work stream as well. So at that point, I'll say I'm going to go ahead and create an incident based off of this, right? And here we have the create an incident. So you can see I've already sort of typed this before, but yeah, short description, basically VPN issue, or let me just say VPN issue. Description. That's right. So I'll just put anything in there. And you can see that it can also, it's starting to auto-populate as well and starting to recommend what's the next text. But for now, I'm just going to simply just say employee can't connect. And from there, I can also, select different channels. I can also select or the service impacted assignment groups. But for this, I'm only going to save it right now and then show you how Service Operations Workspace just makes recommendations automatically just based off of the context of this conversation. So I'm going to save it. And also notice our agent assist is also making recommendations here. So really highlighting that there's a lot of contextual information that's being provided to provide assistance. Now, the thing that you see here is that within that, it was able to predict that because it's a VPN, this should go to our network engineering assignment group. And also it's predicting that the category is network, right? Because it is a VPN issue. So as you can see that it already did some auto population of the incident under the details here. So you see that. Let's say that demonstrates like some of the automation capabilities that you'll also be able to take advantage of leveraging the Service Operations Workspace, right? And then off to the right is where we have our collaboration options, right? So if I click on collaborate, and that'll bring up this chat interface. Just wait a moment. Notice how it gives us an option to either initiate a sidebar discussion where you can have communications happening here within the platform, or we already know that Storm is in Teams chat. But for now, I'm just letting Storm know that we created an incident for him and we will be getting back to him, right? And as I mentioned, that does auto-populate. Storm will get notifications directly in Teams about the incident. So Storm can actually track the incident and see what the status of that. And again, when we reach out to Storm, we'll be able to actually just initiate that chat conversation directly from Teams, right? So let's say right now we have this option here. I just told Storm that we'll get back to him. Now, what I can do is I can also bring other folks into this conversation potentially, right? Or I can start a sidebar discussion. So as an agent, let's say I'm relatively new to my role. I'm not necessarily a subject matter expert, but I can reach out to someone with either a subject matter expertise or maybe more experience. And this is where I can ask them to take a look at the incident with me or potentially provide me with some instructions on how I might be able to troubleshoot that. So from here, as you can see, this brings up our sidebar discussion. And I can look for a friend to help me out, right? So for now, we will be looking for another enterprise architect or someone who could be tier 3, tier, or another team. And I can add them to a sidebar chat, and I can type a brief message so you get an idea of why I'm reaching out to you. I have an employee with an issue with a VPN, right? So as you see here, whoops, sorry. I'm just saying that I have an employee with a VPN issue, and then I can start a discussion with Abel, who's our resident subject matter expert. Okay, as you can see here, that pops up a side, another chat interface within the Service Operations Workspace, where as an agent, I can collaborate with a subject matter expert. It also gives them the incident that I'm working on, so that individual that I reached out to can dive into that. Then we can share information dynamically through this interface, right? So really highlighting how we can keep that entire contextual information within the platform. Also, again, not pivoting outside of the platform. This is all right at the fingertips of our agent here. So again, reducing swivel seating between different applications, putting everything right at the fingertips of that agent, and also capturing the context of that communication and that collaboration effort within this incident data, right? So right now, I mean, we don't have Able on the other end to be able to respond. So this is just, just highlighting that we have some functionality here that will allow you to collaborate. So for now, you'll have to imagine that Abel just told me, hey, you can try this article, or I've looked at this and I'm either escalating it or I've found some kind of remediation, right? With that, I can pause.
Ryan,
Yeah, go ahead.
Just a time check for you.
Okay.
We're at 40 minutes, so we've got just under 20 minutes left.
Alrighty. So let me speed that through. So I've showed you how you can collaborate within Service Operations Workspace, how you can reach out to additional individuals within the organization who might be subject matter experts, and also how we are capturing all of that context within this ticket. So with that, I think I've covered everything that we have here. So let me move on to the next part of the demo so that we also have time for Q&A. So I will present again. All right. So moving on. Again, just a quick recap, right? So we showed you the sidebar in context of record. We showed you the doc window. We also showed you how the agent conversation is captured within that Service Operations Workspace. We also initiated, MS Teams, how ServiceNow is integrated with MS Teams, and how that information can be imported directly into that incident ticket. All right. So now let's move on to the second part of our demo. Now this is our collaborative call experience within Service Operations Workspace. folks can see that on my screen. So what we'll be showing you here is how you initiate a call through the side panel. And again, we're showcasing the things that are currently supported. Slack is not present in this current slide, but we do support that. But we have MS Teams, Zoom, WebEx, and Twilio, right, as modalities for communication. Also, the agent will be displayed with the provider, as I see here. We'll be focusing primarily on MS Teams for this particular use case. Now, within that call initiation modal, you can also start a conference, which is Teams in this instance, right? You can also add the subject of the call, so folks know what call bridge this is, and then you can also add a brief message. And then you can also add additional folks or additional participants from this window as well. So whatever your chat provider of choice is, we can support that here as well. So I believe Teams, I think you can add a maximum of 250 people at once if you need to have someone that big. But where this really comes in use, great use, is when you're using this in combination with our major incident management functionality. Again, being able to pull folks into a call bridge, have them presented with contextual information that gets them up to speed, and then being able to collaborate within a singular interface is super helpful, I believe. And that's where I think there's a tremendous value with this call bridge. The other thing that we'll be showing is in progress call, how you're operating that from ServiceNow. An agent can take the following actions. They can manage calls, they can add participants, they can mute participants, or they can view all participants, which very similar functionality that you have within MS Teams, but from a single pane of glass that is Service Operations Workspace. Which again, as I've said before, this is, I think, a huge benefit, right? Not having to pivot out of the application and having all of that integration right at your fingertips. Okay, so also what you get here is from a requester view, when an agent is trying to connect with an end user, the end user will be able to use the provider platform, which right now will be MS Teams. So being able to reach out to your customer directly with their chat client of choice, which is super helpful. And then we also have a summary of all the collaborative calls that are happening as well, right? So you can actually see that there are multiple calls that are happening, within the Service Operations Workspace. So other folks are having different sessions. We have issues in order management. We have connecting internet modem, system is down. Now an agent directly from Service Operations Workspace can join any one of these calls, right? So yes, they can jump back and forth, or they can initiate or share an invite, which is another useful capability. And they can navigate between that fairly rapidly, right? And then for the post-call experience, once the call is completed, an agent can view the recording. Right now, I believe we support Twilio only for now, where you can actually pull the recorded information in there. But as with Teams, I believe Teams can also store some of the recordings on SharePoint or other areas, which you can, also potentially just add to the incident ticket if you wanted to, provide that information for folks to be able to review a call, right? And then a basic summary. Okay, so with that, I will jump into our next demo, right? So let me stop presenting. Just to highlight that collaborative capability. Okay, so for the purpose of this demo, let's say I will go into a different incident, right? So I'll go to my list and we'll look at active open incidents, and let's just say I want to jump into say this one. Notice the tab browser, so it just opens up as another tab, which is super convenient. And from there, I can also look at the incident details. or I can go down to our collaboration area here. And as that loads, notice I have an option to be able to start a group team meeting, or I can initiate a call, right? Directly from this interface. For intents and purposes now, I will start a Teams meeting just so folks can see that in action. So as I showed earlier, you can dynamically add folks to the participants list. And as you've noticed, the system is also making recommendations on folks that I may want to add. Now, these folks don't currently have Teams. Some of these folks don't have Teams accounts, but we can add, let's say, Storm to this conversation, even though Storm was having a VPN issue earlier, but now we're having him participate in this email call. And then from there, I can add a brief note. Let's say this is a quick session. Do your trouble. Shoot. Email. Right? Then I can start it. So that should start to initiate. Okay, so notice it started the Teams meeting, which I can click here to join. Well, it does pop this interface. I just wanted to show you that it actually opened up a window here within my Teams client. So that initiated the call. I'm going to mute this for now, and then I'll just show you how you would join it. And what you see here now is the Teams interface that's been initiated directly from the Service Operations Workspace. This Notify connector is the default. This is the integration, the out-of-the-box integration that we provide. And you can also see that Storm is in this chat as well, right? And then from there, you have all the functionality of Teams. You can add additional folks to it, etc. Right. That I will leave that. One other thing I'd like to bring to your attention, we also have the ability to call and get an on-call expert into the call. So let's say, for example, you are using on-call a schedule. You can also schedule on-call within the platform, and this will make recommendations on who you may want to contact for a particular service or functionality or subject matter expert that you may want to pull into that call. And from there, you can see we have a few folks that are on call. So these are primary responders right now, or designated responders. And then you also have their contact information directly from here, where I can either initiate a sidebar chat, as I showed earlier. We have sidebar directly integrated in the platform, which it would bring up a notification for this agent directly in their Service Operations Workspace, or I can just reach out to them in Teams and just start a Teams chat directly from this interface, right? So with that, let's see. And then also if I go back to the collaboration tab, notice how the call is still in session, right? So if I needed to join again, rejoin that call, I can do that all from this interface. Or I can copy this and then send this invite out either in email or post it in another chat. And then I can have other additional folks, join that conference bridge. Or if I've already closed the conference bridge, I can reinitiate that same conference bridge. Let's say we have an issue and we didn't quite resolve it, we may want to reinitiate it. And you can also end the call directly from here as well, or add participants, if you can see that right here. So for now, I'm just going to end it. Save that. Alrighty, so I know we are pressed for time. So I believe with that, I will put up the presentation really quickly. There's a lot to cover in a live demo, and hopefully I try to get through that in a way that folks found useful and not too rushed. So with that, just a quick recap, right? So what we just showed you here was the MS Teams conference call. We also initiated, that call from ServiceNow into Teams. And then ServiceNow also suggested participants that we may want to add to the call. We can also add, remove participants. You can work the call directly in Teams once it's initiated. Then we can also reach out to an on-call designated responder, as we saw with subject matter expert that we showed you there. All of that really cool from one single interface, Service Operations Workspace, right? So if folks haven't already thought about it, coming up with a plan of action to adopt it, hopefully this provides you additional incentive to want to do that. And then, of course, we can leave a call, we can reinitiate a call, all from that singular interface, right? A lot of great functionality there. And collaboration summary, we showed you chat and calls, they're available. We've showed an integration with external provider, right? In this example was MS Teams. And then the persistent in-context collaboration, which is super helpful. Again, just having that in one spot is a huge game changer, right? And again, simplifying that engagement for the agent, and also allowing them to provide that support for the end user. And then we also showed multiple chats and calls within a single ticket, and it's supported across multiple ticket types, right? So we have interaction records, we had incident, we also have requests as well. And then, of course, we're constantly improving. So stay tuned for further enhancements. And as I mentioned, we'll be layering more AI on top of that. So keep your eyes open for that. With that, I also just wanted to cover this. If you'd like to sign up for future opportunities with research, please go ahead and scan this QR code here. Again, we really value your feedback. It really helps us to build up, a better product, and also to make sure that we're meeting the expectations of our customers. That's super important to us. So just please share your feedback, help us shape the future. So, help us so we can help you. And express your needs on what sort of solutions you're looking for us to build for you, right? Customers are super important, and we're glad that you're able to participate in this. So with that, we'll move on to our next slide. We also have ITSM Customer Adoption Day, which will be November 18th, right? That is live on ServiceNow. Expect some notifications that will be coming out shortly regarding that. And last but not least, we have some implementation resources, which we will post directly in the chat, which cover some of the Teams integration and documentation that's provided by ServiceNow in order to start you on that journey of getting this implementation up and running, right? And with that, I will leave some time for questions.